Okay, here we go. Let me land. This is for you.
Try to give it to my neighbor.
All right, then I need one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, the other one. The kids and Artist purse is here.
Kimberly check is not going to be here today. Yep.
I saw that.
That's true.
So I'll be. I assume we're doing roll call votes. It's that time. We just need Ari and Kim.
Hey, Julie. Hey, Julie. Did you see Kim or Ari out there? Yeah.
Yeah, why don't they? They don't get the biology.
They were just here.
Well, like also, this is a small business. Like, it is a local player. I don't get one.
So, you guys, that's the same thing we got in an email. They just heard a rumor that we didn't get it. So they make copies. But we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are going to have some enemies.
We'll survive.
I got one.
Yeah, thank you guys. How accurate it is. And so it's hard to be that odd.
Yeah.
I would.
I mean, the issue is, like, you don't know.
All right, folks. We're going to get started in just 1 minute. If you could please find your seats, we're going to get started in 1 minute. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. That one just got ripped, but they do want to speak.
All right, folks. Welcome to the Grand Rapids Public Schools Board of Education meeting. We welcome and appreciate your presence at this meeting of the Grand Rapids Public Schools Board of Education. We respectfully request you turn off cell phones and refrain from clapping, cheering, or making any audible comments. We invite you to make formal public comment during our designated time on either agenda items, non-agenda items, or both if you wish. To do so, please fill out the comment card located in the entryway and submit it to the board assistant or public safety officer. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes today. And our secretary will take the roll.
All right, Trustee Kilpatrick, Trustee Melton,
Here.
Trustee Moreno,
Present.
Trustee Van Dyke,
Here.
VP Wade,
Present.
Trustee Williams,
Present.
Trustee Williamson,
Present.
President Rodriguez.
Here.
We have quorum.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Support.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? That motion passes. All right, so we are going to start today with celebrations, and I'm going to hand it off to Dr. Roby.
Good evening, everyone. And so we have an exciting opportunity to
give people their flowers. We have 4 40-year employees that we're celebrating here tonight. Each has a different role within GRPS, and they will be represented by various cabinet members who will list out their accomplishments over the past 40 years. And so we'll invite them up one at a time. I'd like to invite Mr. Mel Atkins first, who will introduce Mrs. Christina Johnson.
Hey, Mel.
Good evening, Superintendent Roby. There it is. President Rodriguez and members of trustees of the board. Again, Mel Atkins, Executive Director of Community Student Affairs. And I have the pleasure today of not introducing, but recognizing Christina Johnson for 40 years of service here in GRPS. Started a few years ago, in the 80s, I'm going to say, as a security officer. After the security officer was a public safety officer, then a compliance and training officer, and a training compliance supervisor, and then the last, it looks like about 8 years was a lieutenant. And so I want to thank personally Christina Johnson for her services over 40 years here in GRPS.
I didn't know I can speak, but since it, 40 years in this district, and I would say my success, and I'm still not ready to go. So if the Lord is willing, I plan to be here another 40 years because what I do, I love, and that's putting our kids and our families and our staff first. I'm not here for me. I'm here for the district and the families and the students and the community and our city. Thank you for the acknowledgement, and I appreciate it, and thank you for your support.
Thank you.
I should have stated that each honoree is receiving a commemorative keepsake honoring their achievement, and after we acknowledge all 4, we'll invite everybody up again to take pictures with the board as a collective. Our next honoree is going to be introduced by Miss Malika Brown, and she will introduce Mrs. Barbara Dodge.
Dr. Roby, President Rodriguez, members of the board, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. It is my privilege to recognize Ms. Barbara Dodge for 40 years of service as an elementary school teacher. That means that generations and generations of children have been welcomed, have been taught, have been encouraged and corrected, and celebrated and loved under your care, Ms. Dodge. Few professions leave a legacy as deep as teaching, and I think we know that, and few commitments speak louder than this 40 years that you've spent with us here, showing up for students and families. So thank you, Mrs. Dodge, for the lives you've touched and the examples you set. And some of the things, she is currently a teacher at MLK, and has been a teacher at Harrison Park, Frost, Congress, Henry Padea Academy from way back in the day, Mulek Park, and Alger Elementary School. And so for your service, Mrs. Dodge, we appreciate you and present you with this plaque. And
as I was reflecting on my years and what I should say, I realized one thing. I'm old. I started at Alger before the internet. That's how old I am.
Wow.
We had one cart with a VCR and a big TV, and that was what our technology was.
Highlight of the day.
Yeah. And I thank you all for this, but I have to tell you, I want to thank God because He's the reason I'm here, and He blessed me with the ability to take part in what his plan was. And I gotta thank my mom, love you much, and my grandfather who put me through school. My two heroes, my sister Beth and my son TJ, they have endured and are courageous and strong and have faith in God. And don't get me started on my grandson. Hi Dante, I love you. And to my wonderful staff, can you imagine anybody coming on the first Monday off of summer vacation to a board meeting? I love you.
Next, I'd like to invite Mrs. Kelly Green, who will introduce Mrs. Christine Black.
Thank you so much. Good evening to Dr. Roby and President Rodriguez and the distinguished members of the board. Again, I'm Kelly Green, Chief Area Instructional Leader for Northwest, and I'm super excited to get to introduce Chris. Chris started out as in special education and then spent 25 years in kindergarten. And if you know anything about teaching the littles, you know that in of itself is something. Truly, truly, 25 years in kindergarten. She was at Madison Park Elementary. She was at Stocking Elementary, and since 2008, she's been at Kent Hills Elementary School. And again, yes, no doubt, right? Kent Hills has showed up for her. You know, you think about the multi-generations of people that she has impacted, and in fact, her principal had a little quote he wanted to share too. Her entire career, supporting the whole child, our committees, staying late, volunteering, being a team player, mentoring new teachers, has had numerous student teachers who have then become educators, so she is responsible for future forward planting of teachers, loving the outdoors and making learning very engaging. He said he gets calls all the time, parents asking, is Miss Black still there? And of course, Miss Black, we'd like to give you the opportunity to speak to.
Well, I would just like to say, I love teaching kindergartners and I like talking to little people. Big people make me nervous. I would like to say thank you to my family because without them, I wouldn't be here. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for putting me through college. And thank you, Tom, Katie, and Matthew, for putting up with your mom not being home. And thank you, Tom, for putting up with everything that you have to put up with me. So, and thanks to all my staff and friends that I made along the way. And I love what I do, and I do what I love.
And finally this evening, I'd like to invite Mrs. Erin Purdy to come forward to introduce Mrs. Renee Lance.
Good evening, Superintendent Roby, President Rodriguez, and the board. My name is Erin Purdy. I'm the Executive Director for Special Education, and I have the privilege of introducing Ms. Renee Lance to you guys. Ms. Renee Lance doesn't just help our littles, she also takes the staff under her wing. Anytime I've run into her, she always has a smile. She's always working with our special education students and staff. She has worked in some amazing buildings. She's currently at Aberdeen. She's been at campus, Elder Park Elementary, Huff Elementary, Eastern Elementary, Mid-City Center, West Middle Alternative Special Education, as well as Shiloh House. Love having you with us.
This is not my thing to talk about. It's been a privilege.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Dodge, Mrs. Black, and Mrs. Lance. I hope that this also exemplifies for our audience just the importance of education. And this is really heart work. And you can be a person of many words or few, but the love for children and people shines through to stay in a profession that sometimes is not as kind to educators as it should be. So let's again celebrate these 4 wonderful educators and leaders by giving them a standing ovation, and we'll invite them to come up to take a picture. Next up, we will celebrate our spring athletic achievements, and so I'd invite Mr. Larry Johnson as well as the athletic directors for our programs to come forward.
Good evening, President Rodriguez, Dr. Roby, Superintendent, other trustees of the board. I'm going to just take a seat here and I'll let the athletic directors talk about the spring accomplishments and some of the things we're looking forward to. I'd also like to congratulate all of the recipients tonight of 40 years. Mrs. Dodge was actually the teacher of 2 of my kids at Mulek Park, and I've got a great relationship with Miss Lance, and then the other young lady, Miss Johnson, just happened to raise all 3 of my kids. But I'll turn this over to these gentlemen here who would talk about what's going on in athletics.
Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Rodriguez, members of the board. Brody Larson, middle school athletic coordinator. Some accomplishments we've had. We had a busy spring with track and soccer and golf and tennis. So this year, participation, we had touched on it at our last meeting as well. Spring participation at the middle school level, we are at 539 scholar athletes across all sports. Last year, we had 516, so we're up 23 individuals across all of our sports for the spring season. At the elementary level, we are up to 377 scholars, 2nd through 5th grade, and that's just track. Up 27 from last year, where we came in at 350 2nd through 5th graders. So again, we're looking at continue to build these programs. Some summer opportunities that we have in place for the middle school scholar athletes with help from the high school varsity coaches. We have camps this summer for basketball, football, soccer, softball, swimming, and volleyball that will be taking place, as well as tennis at various locations, both Ottawa and Union, led by our varsity coaches and their teams. So looking forward to hitting the ground running again in the fall. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Rodriguez, and members of the board. My name is Justin Walker. I am the athletic director at Union High School. First and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to share some of these spring accomplishments that Union High School was able to achieve this spring. This spring, we had 6 all-conference athletes who earned first team OK Conference All Gold, and then 2 athletes who received the honorable mention. Along with those accomplishments in all conference, The MHSA has recognized the Union High School varsity tennis team as academic all-state, which means they have one of the top 10 GPAs for the entire Division I tennis programs, which is over 120-something tennis programs. So we're in the top 10 with that. Along with the tennis team earning academic honors, we had 5 members of our varsity baseball team earning academic all-state honors as well. This spring, we had one of our scholar athletes, qualify for the MHSA Division I state finals in long jump. She's a junior, so we're hoping that she will be able to return next year and represent us. Brody touched on this. Right now, of our varsity programs, we have a number of summer offerings where our scholars can be engaged in sports and conditioning, as well as some nutritional and educational-based activities throughout the entire summer. With the help of our facilities department, we're able to offer programming 5 days a week throughout the entire summer, starting last week during the half days, going up until the first day of fall sports in August. To wrap it up, one celebration carrying over from the winter, Zaire Craig, who was a member of the Red Hawks varsity basketball program. She signed her letter of intent to continue her education as well as her basketball career at Lake Michigan College. So we wish her all the best. Look forward to supporting her as she goes on to the next step. So I will turn it over to Mr. Harris.
Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Rodriguez, board members. I'm Marcus Harris, Ottawa Hills High School Athletic Director. I would like to provide a brief update on our spring sports athletic programs and highlight some of the outstanding accomplishments of our student athletes and our coaches. Overall, for the spring season, we had 13 all-conference and 2 honorable mention in the OK White division. Those sports range from soccer to softball, baseball, tennis, and track and field. Our track and field team had another exceptional season. The boys track team captured a share of the OK White championship as they finished tied for first place. Last year, our boys track team went 0-6 in the division. This year, they went 6-0. And so most of them will be back next year, so we're hoping for great things. In addition, we had 10 all-conference athletes in track, multiple athletes and relay teams qualified for the MHSA state finals. And then we had 4 student athletes that earned all state honors at the state finals track meet up in Rockford. Our state final qualifiers included the girls 100-meter hurdles, the boys 110-meter hurdles, the boys 100 and 200-meter events, the boys and girls 4x100 events, the boys and girls 4x200 events, and also the boys 4x400 events. So all of those kids participate in the state finals at Rockford. I also would like to recognize a few outstanding individual accomplishments. Soraya Pearson, a freshman, had an incredible track season. She finished 3rd in the state finals in the 100-meter hurdles, was the regional champion this year, and also broke the Ottawa Hills school record in the event with a time of 14.46 seconds. Soraya earned all state in both the 100 meters and the 4x100 meter. So she's only a freshman, so we're looking for great things. Additionally, Ella Coster set a new Ottawa Hills High School record. Actually, she broke her own record this year in the pole vault, 9 feet and 6 inches. As well, as far as college athletics, this year, we're proud to recognize that several of our student athletes will continue their athletic careers at the collegiate level, ranging from sports of football, volleyball, wrestling, cross country, and track and field. And Brody and Justin mentioned it too, we're now into summer, and so we'll be offering a wide range of athletic offerings for our summer programs, everything from the sports that I just mentioned, which started last week. So in closing, I want to thank all the coaches, the student athletes, the families, the staff, and the Board of Education for their continued support of Ottawa Hills Athletics. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, is there any questions, any comments for our athletic directors?
Thank you for your work.
I want to ask, for the programming that you got over the summer, where can parents find that information on our website?
district's website.
Just the district's
We're
website.
posting everything on the district website.
Okay.
And we're also working with this team as they begin to evaluate and train their coaches. An advisory task force and committee that can begin to look at our athletics and how we become more competitive, how we continue to retain students and uplift our athletes in this community to be on a competitive edge. The task is to keep our gyms open, keep our pools open throughout the summer so our athletes can get more repetition inside the pool, more weightlifting, more nutrition, but more literacy opportunities inside the building over the summer.
Excellent.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Trustee
Mr.
Williams?
Johnson, you just mentioned an advisory committee. Can you give a little bit more information?
Yeah, so we are now collecting some names of some of our community members who have a love and passion for sports to join us to just do an overall look at our athletic program to see how can we get better without cutting the overhead expenditures without compromising our competitive edge. And so we need to have voices at the table other than ours to be heard and hear some of the recommendations and ideals of our community.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you
Thanks
so
very
much.
Yep.
That concludes celebrations for this evening.
All right, thank you, Dr. Roby. Next, we are going into our secretary's report. Secretary Kilpatrick.
Yeah, happy to share. So our Finance Committee meeting is scheduled on Monday, June 22nd, and that will be right here at 4:30. All right. There's a City Board Liaison meeting happening on Tuesday, June 23rd at 4 o'clock in the conference room 112 within this building. And then our Ad Hoc Facilities Committee meeting will happen again Monday, July 13th. And we're going to do that also in conference room 112 here in this building.
All
Or is
right.
that the library?
That's actually
Sorry,
next
that's
door
the
in the
library
library.
building. Sorry, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we're going into our committee chair reports. We're going to hear from Treasurer Moreno for Finance Committee.
As you can see, all the items were recommended to the board to vote on today. The two specific items I want to specifically name and uplift are the science curriculum, which was a newer item. And so you can see, especially on the purchasing agenda, it's a really, really long list coming forward for us to vote towards. But the science curriculum was a new curriculum. And part of our longer conversation was related to process. And so, wanting to acknowledge Trustee Melton and your questions towards it, specifically elevating Policy 7000, which talks about the process when we look at new curriculum and it gets vetted to the board to vote towards. We had a really great conversation. Gratitude to Trustee Williams. That we really need to look at updating Policy 7000 because now we have an academic committee and really be more intentional in naming what is the process for the academic committee. The curriculum team did share the process of how they decide on those curriculums and how that's brought forward, which is the same process that got shared to the academic committee. And again, this is why we moved it forward, since it was the same process. And it felt really clear. But again, noting Policy 7000, that it needs to be more specific and aligned now that we have a curriculum committee. The other item wanting to acknowledge, I just got really loud. The other item I really want to acknowledge is, again, we're just making note of food costs. Costs are increasing across the board, but specifically our food costs, not only in the nutrition department, but also Hausman Field. I think we had this assumption that Hausman Field would generate some funds, but making that connection back to our athletic budget.
All right, thank you, Treasurer Moreno. Colleagues, is there any other questions or comments for Treasurer Moreno? All right, seeing none, we will move into our Ad Hoc Facilities Committee update. Trustee Williamson.
Thank you. We just completed our meeting. We did not get through all of the agenda items, so we still have not discussed the recommendations for the next two properties. we just ran out of time, so we'll have that at a forthcoming Facilities Committee meeting and discussion around that, as well as green space in the district, particularly in regards to Beckwith, but may elicit some others. The topics we did discuss, quick summary of the summer projects review, continued work going on playgrounds, really excited the foundation working at Gerald R. Ford this summer to get that completed, and some other projects going along. I'm sure things we're familiar with. I know there's some carpeting projects going on. So any more details, please reach out, but that's a summary there. What took up a large section of our discussion in our hour was any remaining questions regarding the Stocking and Alexander proposals. Regarding stocking, the committee, we did recommend moving forward with Commonwealth's proposal to purchase a stocking building. We had discussion around this, and again, this was part of our ongoing discussion we've had over some time with these proposals. But looking at the interest in certainty of closing, as well as community alignment and preparation and experience to take on a project of the scope. So therefore, the committee recommended the Commonwealth proposal for stocking. We did not make a recommendation for Alexander. We thought it was best to bring that full discussion to the entire board. One thing we were able to elicit some more information on, thanks to the district team and JLL, who've been awesome through this process, in terms of one of the proposals with Alexander was regarding a lease or a sale, and understanding how they came to how in calculating that, how you understand what are the income generated from the lease versus a sale over a period of years. So with that proposal, the example being, they're recommending a 60-year lease. If we were to go with the lease option with $1 million value, considering a 10% discount, you'd end up with a $700,000 profit. We can have more discussion as well, of course. But yes, so we got through that question. Again, that proposal offers either a lease or a sale option. So we wanted to explore that lease option. We, of course, will have some more discussion regarding that. But again, one thing that kind of shone through with all of the proposals, and I sort of said this as chair, is we had some great proposals from some great community partners across the board. And I had the anxiety, and maybe some others did too, maybe not, but I certainly did, before the RFP window closed, of whether we would get any proposals. And the fact that we did get proposals and they were so good, it shows that there is interest and investment in our larger community and GRPS, which I think is fantastic. So we had the discussion around there. Of course, we'll be acting on these two items later, and we'll have some more discussion regarding them.
All right, thank you. Trustee Williamson, if there is any questions, I will ask that board colleagues hold that for our action items as they are coming up for the resolution sale of Alexander and stocking. Next, we're moving into our superintendent's report, our public safety and summer safety presentation.
All right, so I'm going to invite our Chief of Staff, Head of Safety and Security, Mr. Larry Johnson, to come down. And of course, I'm noticing it, that it's June 20, it should be June 2026, but this is this year's report. And so as we are entering our summer months, and then also kind of just a recap of what has taken place over the 25-26 school year.
Okay, and I apologize for not switching the date.
Okay, no worries.
But first of all, again, good evening, trustees, President Rodriguez, Dr. Roby, and out to our community. This is a quick overview of our end of year school safety and security programs and some of our accomplishments this year. Of course, we do everything considering the priority scholar outcomes that are aligned with our strategic themes. And of course, the strategic themes here is meeting our holistic student needs and creating a culture of trust, collaboration, and stewardship. We understand the importance of our school safety program in this community. We believe that we have one of the best school safety departments in the country, and I think the data helps support that. Everything that we do is listed up under 5 phases of emergency management, prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. And you've seen some of these slides before because it is embedded in the work that we do every day. And we want to continue to make sure that our officers, our principals, our leaders in the district are aware of the 5 phases of emergency management and the work that they do. Again, our framework for comprehensive school safety planning and development is around physical safety and security, the operations and emergency management, the training and preparation that we do. We train more than any other school security department in the entire country, averaging about 120 hours of training a year. The average training hours for a school security officer around the country is about 20 hours. We align that around culture, climate, and community engagement and working with our community. We have taken on the role of enlisting and working more closely with our mental health folks and our therapists, so mental and behavioral health becomes a key role for us, as well as health and wellness, and then making sure that everything we do is legal, ethical, and moral, and following the leadership law and policies of this district. So today, physical security, around 450 drills that were completed. I was just informed that we missed 1 fire drill at 1 building and 1 tornado drill. But all of our other drills, 5 fire drills for every building, 3 emergency drills for every building, and 2 tornado drills. That is the minimum that we were required to do. Were done, and with the exceptions of 1 tornado drill and 1 fire drill that did not get done during the school year. Our major incidents are down. No guns in our building this year. That is a huge accomplishment, and that came with the increase. Yep. That came with the increase, the training of our staff, our security staff, even our principals who at times helped ran metal detectors, the increased use of metal detectors not only in day-to-day but also in our schools and at events. And we continue to distribute gun locks. I picked up another 2,000 gun locks from the state police, so we'll continue to put them out as many as we can. We had planned to have a table here because we know a lot of people is going to be here tonight, so we wanted to distribute tonight, but we didn't get around to it. But we think it's very important to continue to provide safe gun storage to our parents in this community, continue to provide the resources that we can get our hands on to help keep firearms out of the hands of young people in this community. It's something that touches all of us, and our schools is just a microcosm of the community. And whatever happens in our community impacts our schools. Our work around camera projects, just about every one of our buildings have cameras. We are very intentional on the ones that does not. Brookside, North Park, Palmer, obviously those schools are coming off our books along with Aberdeen. And then Zoo School, which is a building we do not own. Now we're going to rethink the empty buildings of Brookside, North Park, and Palmer, because even if a building is empty, it's a resource that we have. It's a property that we own, and we want to make sure that we have some level of protection inside those buildings to help us identify any causes of vandalism that occurs inside of the building. But all of our other academic locations, we have either enhanced or installed cameras in those buildings, as well as with the installment of cameras on our buses. Our kids are making some better decisions, knowing that there's a high probability that through investigative techniques they may be identified. The access control, we started a system-wide upgrade process. We began with a beta project at Ken Hills, and we're now beginning to expand that in any buildings that we remodel or that come online. Our current card access system was about 50 years old. It's one of the first systems, and although it's still functional, there's some newer systems out there, new technology that gives us better data and gives us opportunity to do some other things with card access in terms of managing how folks move through the building. We want to make it more easy and accessible, and sometimes using internal key card systems as we create more secure entryways. We're going to talk about in a second here. Our critical incident mapping, we did critical incident mapping at 54 locations. We completed that mapping, and now we're going back to get MOUs with some of our evacuation route locations, the owners of those properties. One of the challenges with critical incident mapping is that anytime we update, remodel, or rebuild a school, we have to go back and redo those 3D images of that building. So that is an ongoing process, but to be able to have electronic images and electronic mapping of our schools has been a huge plus with us, and this really helped out when we did our evacuation routes. 88 evacuation routes that we walked, 2 for each schools. We personally walked every one of those routes to make sure that in the event of evacuations, our scholars, our staff can get to a temporary sheltering location until they can be moved to a different location. We also have 5 reunification sites and working with the KISD to utilize 2 of their sites in the event that we have a mass casualty in our community. And those 5 sites, although we don't identify them publicly, we do have 5 sites within our district in the event we have to move our students. Typically, we move students to an evacuation site, and that evacuation site is always kept confidential. The reunification site, when opened, is publicized to the community, so we want our parents, our families to come to the reunification site rather than to an evacuation site where we would not be able to control the pedestrian or student traffic that's moving in and out of that site during the onset of an emergency. Our secured entryways. I mean, all of our educational sites now have secured entryways. Now we're moved into another phase of that. Currently, as you go into a building, you can get into the office, but you can also get into the main hallways. So the second phase of our secured entryway site is to, with the utilization of card access, is to secure the office doors so that anyone in the main office cannot get into the educational section of the building without being buzzed into that section of the building. Our staff would have access to open from both sides of the door, from the hallway side or the entry side. What we want to do is stop anyone from slipping out of that door in a busy office and that can make their way up to a teacher's classroom and have confrontation with the teacher or another staff member. We want to be able to protect our teachers upstairs, protect our students within the building, and by adding that second locking system, and that is industry standard now, by adding that second phase, it will give us an opportunity to do that. We are also looking at secure entryways in our non-educational sites. Our focus is always where scholars are. And what we do in non-educational buildings, this building, library building, 4-H building, or food service, as well as transportation, is always secondary to us. Not that those employees are not important, they are, but we want to make sure that we protect our scholars first before we move those assets and resources into non-academic buildings. Our Raptor visitor management system, again, it's installed in all of our elementary, middle, and high schools, but it's get limited use. Raptor is a challenge for us. There's a lot of resistance to use, and a lot of that resistance to use is dealing with immigration customs enforcement concerns and concerns of who sees the data once a card is swiped. So we have to continue to work with our families to continue to build trust that when a card is entered into a system, that data is not shared with anyone, and that we're not calling any other agencies on any of our families, but that is just merely a system for us to track who's in our building to make sure that if they're on a do not admit list, that we can honor that do not admit list. Again, two-way radios utilized consistently across our district. We increased the number of radios. We are addressing some FCC challenges in some of our buildings, and that's simply verbiage. There's certain things you can and can't say on FCC monitored radio stations, so it's a training issue for our staff to get them. You can't order pizza over the radio. That's just and personal conversations over the radio. So we're trying to clean that up, but we've had more increased acts for two-way radios, expanding them into more classrooms. That is something we've never done, but it's absolutely something we'll continue to evaluate to see if they're going to be utilized, then it's worth the purchase. Our work and the road to update our crisis manual, you heard a lot about that. You saw the completion of the EOP, the Emergency Operations Plan. Our desk reference has been completed. That's a condensed version of that. Our flip chart's completed in hand, and our app is ready to be launched any day now. We just have a couple tweaks we have to work out with the app, but it's ready to be launched. So this fall, this August, when our staff is back, all of those tools will be launched inside of our building. with an ongoing continuous training opportunity for staff, virtual and in person, and at PLCs, wherever we can go to our staff to train in terms of how to use those manuals, we will be there. Events covered. This year we covered over 2,700 events. That includes athletic events, GRPS university events, and non-GRPS events. Our staff has been very busy throughout the school year in covering and keeping our families and our scholars and our staff safe as they come and go from buildings. Our staff right now is working about 10 to 12 hours a day. We would love to be able to pull back on that some, but the demand to have them at locations continues to go up. And then upcoming and mandatory trainings, we had to convert the district over to a standard response protocol. That is the old code red, code yellow. We have to stop using that language and go to common language or a standard response protocol. The deadline for that was October 26, 2026. We made we've done that already. Our entire district has been converted over, transitioned over to standard response protocols. There's still some lingering signs out that we'll be removing over the summer to make sure that the correct information is in the building. There's also another mandate out there with behavior threat assessment, what's called BTAM, and we're going to be pushing all of our administrators, because every building in the district has to have a BTAM team by October 26th. And so working with our professional learning department, working with individual departments, we're going to train as many of our administrators and other staff members who want to be involved in that process so that we can be able to assess threats a little bit better and a little bit more robust without getting a lot of out of school time for our kids. And then reviewing our critical stress debriefers, or what you would call crisis responders. And we were busy the last section of our school year. And so our responders was out a lot. Having some conversations with our mental health department. We've used a model called the Mitchell model for many, many years. And we want to make sure that that is still a viable option for us. Is there a better model out there that may be conducive to the use here in Grand Rapids? So we want to go back and look at the critical incident stress debriefing. Number one, to make sure we have enough debriefers. You can never have enough. And number two, make sure that all those who are responding are properly trained. And then number three, review the model to make sure the Mitchell model is still relevant. Although Mitchell model is still utilized across the country, we want to make sure that our therapist here, our mental health department here is still comfortable with us moving forward with that model. Summer of success. We will be staffing 5 buildings this summer. Our mobile patrols will be checking all of our buildings as we move throughout the community. The athletic fields, and you say, why athletic fields? We have a lot of unauthorized use and damage on our athletic fields. At our Briggs Field, considerable amount of damage of a field that we invested significantly in, and we've got to go back and do some repairs because unfortunately, that field it wasn't vandalized. It was just some unauthorized use that created some damage by not being able to get into the field had they leased the field or rented the field. We're also working with the Urban League, the City of Grand Rapids, at Gerald R. Ford on Friday and Saturday nights on a program called City Vibes. This is our 3rd year of opening up our gyms of safe places for kids. It's not just about basketball, but it's board games, it's the literacy opportunities, it is esports. There's just a multitude of things that will happen in that school, very highly supervised, 3 years in a row. This will be our 3rd year, and we're looking forward to that program. And then there's several security trainings that we're planning this summer prior to August, so our staff can hit the ground running in August. Recommendations for 2026, again, we're going to look at increase the use of vape detectors devices in our building. Vaping appears to be and was a huge increase, and so we have a couple vape detection devices out there in a building right now. We've been testing them, and we want to expand that to several of our schools that appear to have high numbers of vape use. Now, what that will do, it means turning up the sensitivity levels of our metal detectors, which will catch those devices at the door, and our goal is to connect our students to find out why are you self-medicating versus a punitive at the first. We want to be punitive with it. We want to work with families to find out why kids are vaping and see if we can correct that behavior. Again, we want to increase the number of our drills and make sure that they're age appropriate. And what we mean by age appropriate is as we work with our young kids in the elementary schools, oftentimes we're worried about traumatizing some kids at how we do our drills. So we want to make sure that our drills are age appropriate and that all of our families are trauma informed on how we do these drills and making some brief announcements that it is a drill prior to taking some of our young kids into a full drill. We're going to, again, increase the use of metal detectors, host community forums for parents and community members to discuss their safety concerns and gather additional feedback on security practices, increase the number of contacts with parent groups, with our community and community engagement folks. We went out with several of their programs this year, and we would like to be at more of their programs to engage with our parents. And then we want to partner with law enforcement and conduct what we call crime prevention through environmental design assessments on all of our schools. We want to look at how do we continue to make our schools safe from an environmental standpoint. One example we would give is the Southwest Community Elementary School. It has a huge traffic problem, and it's been a traffic problem for many, many years. And so how do we massage that traffic utilizing SEPTEC concepts so that we can change directionals, arrow directionals, exit points to make sure that that traffic flows better for our kids and our families to keep them safe so they're not injured coming and going to school. And then how the BOE, how the board, the staff can help put our strategic plans into action. Again, continue to celebrate our officers and department success. Join us in promoting the importance of homeschool community connections. Again, we offer you to attend, if you can, some of our trainings that we offer. Today we held a bitter fold for us because today was the final day from one of our long-term security officers, Faustino Garcia. I think he's here today, 32 years with the district. Faustino retired this year. Faustino was a staple here at this campus. So this was his last week with us, and although he's been off for a little while now, his official last day was this week. So we're gonna really miss Faustino. Again, a staple here, staple at Ottawa Hills, just a staple in this community. And then we celebrated with our security bank with this just a few hours ago, where we announced that Officer Brian Gordon, again a 25-year member here in our department, was named our Officer of the Year this year. So we are celebrating Brian as well. So that concludes my report, and I will pause for any questions that you may have in reference to our activities over this last quarter.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Colleagues, any questions? Trustee Williams?
I do have a question, but I didn't see it in your presentation, and so I'm wondering where we are with the new cameras on the buses and the bus violations.
I can't speak to the bus violations. I know Luke was intimately involved in that project as well, but all of our buses have cameras. We do see the increased calls from our parents in terms of when their kids are brought in on some disciplinary challenges for activities on the bus. This Saturday I came in and watched some video for about 3 hours on one bus, one incident, but mom was pretty upset but pretty pleased after I narrated her second by second what her kid did. So I think that bus is going to hold our kids a little bit more accountable and give our parents to understand that sometimes the story is not the way it came home.
Yes. So, and I appreciate that, but so the safety component with regards to, and that's why I thought maybe that would be with you. That's with.
Well, we're still in charge of bus safety, but the day-to-day operation of busing now lies in the communications office. But the stop arm, I cannot give you any data on stop arm violations because I'm not connected to that piece of the work.
Okay, thank you. But thank you for sharing the information about those cameras and how that's really being impactful to how our kids get to and from school safely. Yeah.
Parents need to know that they're on the yellow buses, their kids' activities are being monitored, and we can pull up the video, so talk to your kids.
Yep, Treasurer Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for all the great work this year for you and your team. Just a couple clarity or trying to understand. You mentioned major incidents are down. What is defined as a major incident?
Major incidents would be aggravated assaults. Those are assaults with serious injuries, weapons on a school campus, major thefts or break-ins inside of a building. We've had none this year where we lost property, and so those would be defined as our major. Even our drug use is, our drug possession is down. Vaping is up. Vaping possession is up, but possession of marijuana and other narcotics is down, almost down to nothing.
Yeah, that's really, really helpful. And I'd love to understand more like the disparity. You mentioned that you lead your team with 120 hours of training, but the average being 20 hours across wherever. That's a big difference to me, and I do feel like that speaks really highly of your intention, especially around enforcement. Like the need to increase and always be training is really, really powerful. And so I really love it, and just kind of curious. Thank you for the invitation to attend trainings. Definitely want to attend one or two every year, so please send those our way. But what made you make the decision to spend so much time on 120 hours compared to that 20 hour?
Having conversations with my colleagues around the country for the last 30 years, traveling and training with other departments, other major school districts from around the country. We saw there are no restrictions or requirements in terms of training for school security officers around the country. The only two states that require it is the state of Texas and Virginia. All other states, there are no requirements to be a school security officer. We wanted to be ahead of that, and so many years ago, we implemented our School Safety Leadership Academy, our FTO, our Field Training Officers program, which Mrs. Johnson developed, and we put all of our officers through that program, and that amounts to, with our start of school year training, professional learning days, and other opportunities, our officers are getting about 120 hours, anywhere from 80 to 120. But then when you survey other districts around the country, it's about 20 hours. The only here in Kent County, implementing the Kent County School Security Officer Training Program in August, where all security officers that work in Kent County come together. There's about a 40-hour block in there. So we take training very serious. Some of it is repetitive. We hope we never have to use it, but I'm a huge proponent for training as well as my staff. We want to have them prepared.
No, I love that so much. And my last comment is around the Raptor system. I think for myself, and I think this is maybe a request to my board colleagues around, I've never experienced the Raptor system, and I want to make sure that we're uplifting your request. If you're seeing that this is a need that we need to intentionally engage our families around, I'm really interested to maybe have us walk through the process and have us see behind the scenes, so then we can be a champion alongside you.
Love for you to do that, yeah, because we think it's an important tool that we can utilize, and we would like to see more use of it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask about the app. Is this going to be a required for all staff to have it, or just?
Absolutely not. Originally, we're going to roll it out in initial for administrators, and what it is, it gives the emergency operations plan right at their fingertips, and it will be optional from there. Once we get the kinks worked out, it will be optional from there if a staff member would like to put it on their phone.
Excellent presentation. Thank you so much for all the work you've done this year. Kudos to your leadership, and thank you to your team. Your efforts are recognized and appreciated. So I also wanted to say thank you for your distribution of gun locks. That as a Moms Demand Action volunteer, hearing that is music to my ears. Thank you for that. Also, I know that your team, in partnership with communications, has shared information about safe storage, and to see more and more of that, I think is also, I just want to give you kudos for that. Thank you for uplifting the need for trust around the Raptor system. I think just being cognizant of that is important for making the change we hope to see. And then your trauma-informed comment about age-appropriate drills is just, these are things I just want to elevate and thank you for. I have a few questions now. You mentioned that all buildings now have secure entryway. Is that also true of the Fountain building at GR Montessori?
The Fountain building at Montessori does not have a secured entryway, but because it's almost impossible to create it, but what we did at Fountain is we installed cameras and we hired a staff member and placed that staff member in the hallway, so once an individual is buzzed into the building, a staff member will encounter that individual immediately.
Excellent.
The staff member can not only see the front door, but can see both side doors from where their workstation is located.
Great, thank you. I know that was a point of concern for the community there, so thank you for that clarity. And then you mentioned two-way radios. Are educators using those, or just the staff, security staff right now?
Our administrative staff, our security staff, I believe there's some youth advocate family support that may be carrying them as well.
Okay.
And then in every building in the main office, we have what we call a panic radio installed. That panic radio gives every school district direct contact to the Grand Rapids Police just by hitting the red button.
Okay, great, thank you. And I would love to be invited to trainings if you could email the board when those happen. Thank you.
Trustee Van Dyke, do you have any? Nope. All right, Trustee Williamson.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, for the work on the updates with the crisis manual. That's something I'm very excited about, as you know, and I really appreciate the diligence and your work to make sure it's really catered to what we need here in the district. Could you share a little bit more what the district-wide training is going to look like for building level staff?
Well, our focus is going to be on behavior threat assessment. That is going to be highlight the focus of the training, because it's a mandated training where every building must have a team. So that's an 8-hour training for each administrator, assistant principal, dean, and other designated individuals. So that is going to be the focus. We're always focusing and always training around crisis response, crisis management, but we're also going to initiate training that deals with sections of the crisis manual and the flip chart, so that it's just not a book handed to staff members. They have an opportunity to ask questions inside with that flip chart and the components within.
That sounds wonderful. Well, thank you so much again for all the work on that. I think that's just a further iteration into a lot of the work that's been going on, so thank you.
Yeah, I'll just take that question one step further. So I just want to make sure that, so all staff in buildings will, I think you said, have the opportunity to train on the new approach. Is it something that can be given as a part of their job? What I worry about is when it's an opportunity versus, an integrated part of their paid schedule.
I can't personally mandate it, but we've had a lot of, the GRE has been very supportive of the flip chart.
Yeah.
They had a committee come in and work with us on that. So I think with GREA, I hope I'm not misspeaking, but I think they're really going to encourage their teams to come in and be trained. Now, the key to this is to do this during their paid hours and not outside of their paid hours.
To me, that's part of our responsibility as a board, is to ensure that staff is paid for that training, which hasn't always been the case. So with this shift in different language, that's something that I can only speak for myself, but I'm very passionate about making sure that they're paid for that time.
I do have one question. So I know that probably your safety and security team is going to be dealing with a lot more issues around cell phones now that the cell phone law has passed here in Michigan. Is that something that is up to our safety and security, or are we leaving that to the building level to kind of create their own process for addressing that?
If you look at the history of cell phones here in Grand Rapids, the last thing we want to do is return to 15, 20 years ago where we were suspending kids for cell phones.
Absolutely.
We do not want to get into that. Yep. We've had a pretty, I would say we've had a pretty firm cell phone policy.
Okay.
Elementary kids, we say no.
Mm-hmm.
Middle school, we see them, we hear them, we take them. In high school, we teach a responsibility or how to use cell phones and when to use them. I don't see cell phones as being a big issue for us, but I'm going to leave that to the individual building administrator to decide how they want to implement the cell phone policy within their building. It is not something that the security team will go around and begin to police and utilize cell phones as a way to have negative contact with students. Our guys got great relationships with kids. We want to keep it that way, and we don't want cell phones to be the interrupter of those relationships.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and thank you for your presentation. I think we're all really excited for the work your team is doing, and just with such intentionality, so we appreciate it.
Thank you for your support, Dr. Roby, and the rest of the board. Thank you very much. We have a team that's excited about doing this work, very passionate about doing this work, and they want to treat every kid like it's their kid to get our kids home safe every day. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the superintendent's reports for this evening.
All right, next we are moving into our public comment section of our agenda. I will have Secretary Kilpatrick read us into public comment.
All right. To those of you who have signed up for public comment tonight, we thank you. We know that your presence here is a reflection of your care for the students, for the staff, and for the future of GRPS. It's never our intent to stifle public comment, but we do ask that all comments are expressed in a civil manner and with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others. Please know that board members will not respond during public comment, but we are actively listening and taking notes, and your comments will be followed up upon in a timely manner through appropriate channels. And then finally, stepping up to the podium takes courage. So whether it's your first time speaking or you've been here many times before, we acknowledge the strength it takes to step forward and to speak on behalf of our community and our children. And everyone tonight will have 3 minutes to speak. Please state your full name when you begin. And we're going to start with our student comments. And it looks like we have Mateo Rehendez. And you can please correct me. And I understand you kind of want to come up as a group, yes? Yes. Okay, so Mateo, Ram, Marley, and Nirvan. You can all come up together. But you each get 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, I am Mateo Resendiz. Good evening, President Jose Rodriguez and Superintendent Roby. And I thank all for having us today and listening to us. I'm here today to negotiate with the GRPS board, simply to bring to your attention over a movement from the students at City High Middle School. With my crew for today simply as representatives. We are here not solely to complain, but propose a detailed plan that accommodates the concerns of all. This all-important issue is the USDA-funded nutrition program, also known as school lunch. I, Mateo Resendiz, Ram Jayakar, Marley Kerr, and Nirvan Pradhan are here to unify as one to describe in detail our full submission to the Board of Nutrition and the board as a whole. Why? Because no matter how much we try to fix it, our system can be broken at times, but there is a way that we can reconstruct it. Because we, as a society, board, and students can drag it out of the pit and the constraints of funding. Every attempt has failed and been acknowledged. In our great pledge, we call it Project Fresh Food. We don't blame the staff, we don't blame the board, because there's no reason to blame when they're put in a situation where they might not have guidance or control. Funding is always can be an issue. So we are here to introduce to you where the USDA meets a new approach to school lunch. Negotiating does not have to be a pain when it can be a unifier for all of us. Project Fresh Food isn't asking for a Michelin kitchen, it is simply an ask of a gradual transition to a true, healthier way, now portrayed by the restraints of the budget given to us. We can do this, one lean protein piece and one apple grown on a tree at a time. We have searched far and wide for sponsors, and we plead for basics, not physics. Pilot programs are the goal, gradual change and not impossible range, a low sugar protein bar and not rocket science. We are looking for science-backed data and not just told to be put into the infinite abyss. Just a slightly higher quality school lunch is all we're asking. I'm Mateo Resendiz, started this movement not as a criticism of the GRPS system, as they're doing what they are told. But the four of us are here to be alongside you, not a source of debate. We are the middle ground between students, the federal government, and everything in between. Join us on a proposal unlike any other that students have complained about, not described. We are open to all criticism as well as praise and pride. For we thrive when unified but apart and divide, and for what is fresh, find out what will happen, and we call it Project Fresh Food. Now we welcome Ram Jayakar with the data, evidence, and surveys. Thank you.
Hello, members of the board. Thank you for having me here. My name is Sriram Jaker, and I'm here not only to provide our evidence, data, and statistics, but to amplify the voices of other students in our school. We understand and respect how hard the nutrition department works every single day. They are doing the best they can with the tools they have. But the problem isn't the department, it's the system. The food we are currently served is affecting our learning, our focus, and our health. When students skip lunch or just throw it away, it becomes an academic problem, not just a problem in the cafeteria. In a small survey that we held at lunch, 70 students said that they did not like the school lunch, but they ate it anyway because they were hungry. In a class survey that was held, around 15 people skipped the lunch that was served. In our sample, 1/4 of students skipped lunch. That means in a school of 180 students, that's 45 kids not eating just in the 7th grade. If almost 1/4 of us aren't eating, something's clearly off. We can't learn like that. That means a total of 115 students rely on the school lunch every single day. Instead of fixing other problems, there's a major one right in front of us. We know state regulations can be an obstacle, but there are some things we can do for changes. First, we can restrict added sugars in the bidding process to be under the USDA regulations for noticeable attention increase in class. Second, we can restrict the radius of certain renders to keep ultra-processing at a low. Third, banning food dyes and sodium nitrite would put risks of heart disease at a minimum. Fourth, we can create a student feedback system so the district knows which meals get thrown away and which ones students actually finish. These changes don't break state rules, but they don't require a new kitchen also, and they don't cost millions of dollars. They just require listening to students and choosing options that support our learning instead of hurting it. At the end of the day, 115 students rely on this lunch every single day. We're not asking for something fancy, we're asking for something fair. Food that students can eat, food that keeps us focused, and food that helps us learn. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marley Kerr. I will be in 8th grade at City this fall, and I'm the class of 2031 president. I'm here to acknowledge what we understand is a huge issue, or what you may think is a huge issue, is the budget. But according to our research, a single school lunch for a single student is roughly $3.80, and there are around 13.5 thousand students in GRPS. Therefore, we spend about $51,300 a day, $9.2 million a year, or $18.4 million a year with breakfast and school lunches. We've seen students walking around who haven't eaten even with tests coming up. Furthermore, Harvard has conducted studies proving that well-nourished students score up to 14% higher on standardized testing. And higher testing scores could attract more students, getting us more funding, and with these students feeling well-fed, it will decrease absenteeism. Also, getting us more money. Districts in countries like Japan, Finland, and France have similar budgets to us, but much higher quality food. Japan specifically focuses on feeding the body and mind. Finland specifically focuses on making sure students get the nutrients they need for 1/3 of the day. And France specifically focuses on making kids feel full and well-nourished. The programs they used have worked for them, and they have similar budgets. Just imagine what we can do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, board members, and thank you for all having me here. My name is Nirvan Pradhan, and I would like to close with a simple perspective. For a long time, students from various schools in our district have expressed a desire for higher quality food options. As my partners have previously stated, we are not here to weather the storm, but to shift the wind. We've shown you the data. We've shown you the evidence. And now, it is crucial that you turn this request into a reality. All of us here know that nutrition plays a critical role in students' health, focus, and overall well-being throughout the year. Our shared goal at GRPS is to help every single student thrive and bring out the best in themselves. To make that possible, students need the right resources, which are out of their reach. Our incredible teachers and staff do everything that they can to help us in the classroom, but budget decisions, such as the current 10% of the budget being put into school food, are the jobs of the nutrition department. This is the primary reason why we are bringing our request to you tonight. It is up to you to all change this matter and make a positive impact on our daily lives. Because, as Mark Twain put it, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. We hope you start on this journey and turn over a new leaf for student nutrition at GRPS. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Next, we've got Yvonne Malara, and on deck, we've got Jane Neiman.
Good evening, President Rodriguez, members of the board, Superintendent Roby, and members of the community. My name is Yvonne Malara, and I serve as president of UGRESP. I'm here tonight because our members are deeply concerned about the status of contract negotiations. Our current collective bargaining agreement actually expired last year. We did come to a financial agreement with the district, but yet despite this deadline that has come and gone, the district has not met with the union to negotiate in months. More concerning, the district has not proposed bargaining dates, even though we have repeatedly asked in months. And this is leaving the process at a standstill. Our members come to work every day. We are committed to serving our students. We support families, and we are ensuring our schools operate effectively. They deserve a good faith effort to reach an agreement that recognizes their contributions and addresses the issues impacting their work. Collective bargaining is not simply a contractual obligation, it is a commitment to collaboration and problem solving. That process cannot move forward when one side is not actively engaging at the table. Tonight, we are asking the board to ensure that negotiations are prioritized. We are asking for meaningful engagement, timely scheduling of bargaining sessions, and a demonstrated commitment to reaching a fair agreement before our contract, well, it actually did expire, but again, June 30th, July 1st is a pretty big, important day, and we have no dates in sight, no meetings in sight, even though we've repeatedly asked. Our members are ready to meet, we're ready to negotiate, we're ready to do the work necessary to reach a contract that benefits employees, students, and the district as a whole. The question is whether the district leadership is prepared to do the same. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, Jane Neiman, and then Hannah Greening on deck.
Good evening, I'm Jane Neiman, Vice President and President-elect of the Grand Rapids Education Association. Madam Superintendent, good evening. President Rodriguez, members of the board. Thank you for this opportunity to address you. I wanted to bring to your attention tonight what is a concern that I feel we should have regarding employment and hiring. We have seen, as you see on the personnel report tonight, there are multiple resignations. We have seen 47 teachers displaced, 25 have been replaced, 22 still stand without having employment. We are hearing rumors of people being extended employment from outside the district, even though there are 22 current employees without a job. And the concern that I have is we have seen a number of schools added to the state list on the level of, we have 4 schools that are at the CSI level. Yep, and several that have been added to the state list at the ATS level, which is the first level of tiered support. And when I look at our staffing for the district, I see that over 38% of our staff this year have a year or less of experience of teaching, and with the multiple resignations and retirees, we are looking at having potentially half to more than half of our staff be probationary employees with 2 years less, or 2 years or fewer of experience in teaching. So it doesn't take a genius to see that scores going down. Could that be because we are constantly hiring new teachers, and because they are not remunerated, because their AWFs are refused, because they're still the lowest paid in the county, that they are leaving for other districts, and we have become the training ground for the county. It is a huge concern that we have moving forward, and as we look to also opening bargaining again in January for our contract, since our two-year contract will be up next June 30th. I think this is something that the board and the administration should seriously consider moving forward to looking at. If we want to raise test scores, if we want to provide quality education for our students, we have to make sure that we retain the teachers we are training, because they are leaving, and it is leaving us with constantly retraining people. And it takes a quality 5 years. It takes 4 years to become a tenured teacher. It takes a good 5 years to really get your feet under you. I would say it takes 10 to achieve mastery level, and we need master teachers in the classroom to be able to teach our students how to read, how to do math, and to be successful citizens and productive citizens in society. So that is my address to you tonight. There are other concerns I have to mention, but we're going to problem solve those before I bring them forward to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, Hannah Greening, and then Maurice Baker on deck.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Hannah Greening, and I'm founder and managing broker of Fancy Real Estate, a boutique commercial brokerage here in Grand Rapids. Our clients are primarily small businesses owned by women and people of color, mission-based developers, and nonprofits. I'm here tonight representing our client, the woman-owned Commonwealth Development Corporation, in their proposal to purchase Stocking Elementary for the purpose of creating family-oriented affordable housing. I want to highlight a part of Commonwealth's follow-up addendum submitted after the initial interview round. To my knowledge, it hasn't been shared in any public forum yet, and I think it's one of the most important pieces of the proposal. Commonwealth has heard the West Grand Neighborhood Organization's vision for their stocking hub concept, and they see it as a real opportunity for partnership and not for competition. Under this structure, an estimated 3/4 of an acre to a full acre of unused property would be set aside for WGNO. To be clear about the terms, Commonwealth would offer WGNO exclusive access to that land and will neither accept nor expect any payment from them for this. This is so that WGNO can execute on a number of their initiatives: community gardens, a picnic area, a dog park, and other open space and gathering features consistent with their vision and led by them. The one condition is that all site improvements stay within the State Historic Preservation Office and National Park Service will approve, so the project keeps its historic eligibility and access to historic tax credits. A preliminary site plan showing the parcel split has already been submitted. It does include the existing play structure, and it's meant to stay flexible as GRPS and the city weigh in. The result pairs high-quality affordable housing with activated, community-driven outdoor space, a more impactful and more achievable community-focused redevelopment than either piece alone. Beyond housing on the proposed Commonwealth site, residents and community members will have on-site health care through a partnership with Catherine's Health Center, plus financial literacy programs, home ownership readiness counseling, and publicly accessible indoor community gathering space. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maurice Baker and Dee Jones on deck.
Well, my name is Maurice Baker. I am the president and board chair of West Grand Neighborhood Organization. Now, just got a couple things to say. We can have difference of opinions, but what we cannot have is our own personal facts. Why do I say that? We at West Grand Neighborhood Organization, we did the legwork. We did the boots on the ground. The community have spoken. So what did the community say? They said, well, we want a Head Start Center. We want a place where people can do education. We also want to have an establishment that could provide food, education, knowledge, all of the above. Now, what is it that they didn't say? Well, the community, they didn't say that they wanted a 59-unit apartment complex. They didn't say that. They didn't say that they wanted a 59-unit apartment complex that more likely than not could possibly house people within our that maybe or maybe not can even afford it. Now, how are we going to tell the residents of West Grand Neighborhood Organization if, just if, the choice is made to go in the direction of a 59-unit covering almost 4 acres? What are we going to tell the residents about their tax increase, about their tax dollars? So more likely than not, what you are paying today might not be what you will be paying 4 years from now. Now, the board does talk about, you know, investment, community. Well, West Grand is offering that. We're offering a facility that not only will help the west side, it will help all sides. So the right thing to do, the best thing to do, the honest thing to do in front of everybody here, in front of the news station, everybody, give West Grand the opportunity to do the right thing and have this community center owned by the community, operated by the community. And yes, one could also say, well, this is the first time that they've done something like that. Well, here's the deal. Our board members and executive board members at West Grand Neighborhood Organization are entrepreneurs.
That's time. Thank
executives at financial institutions.
Thank you. All right, D. Jones up next. Chai Benedict on deck.
How y'all doing? I'm D. Jones, passionate entrepreneur. I'm the chair of the Stockton Community Hub. From the beginning of the process, you guys said that you guys want a local organization, not an outside organization, to be able to have this building. Also, Ms. Kim is one of your board members. She's a part of the Boston Square Association. They're a little organization. They're not the largest neighborhood association or organization, but they still got the Hub 07 done with a little bit of staff. So don't make an excuse and tell us that we cannot do this and pull this project off when they don't have the staff. They don't even have the capacity, but they still had a vision and they achieved that vision. Not only do they have the Hub 07, they have about 40 housing units. And you're trying to tell people to have a banker as a president, executives, an entrepreneur that helped y'all build the infrastructure and ecosystem for esports, that we can't pull this off. We gave y'all said that y'all had concerns about the financials. We have $1 million, a letter of intent. We have $3.5 million for the renovations and construction. Today I spoke to the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. After we give the senior financials, the equity, and our local contribution, they're trying to pour at least $1.5 to $3 million in grant funding. This is something that Stella has experience being able to do. We have Consumers Energy that's trying to put about $2 million into this. We have the feasibility. The Commonwealth, I heard them. We heard what they said. They not even trying to close on a building until the end of next year or the end of this year. How is that more feasible than what we offering? We're a local community organization. How is that more feasible? How is an organization that's trying to get a school the end of next year more feasible? We can purchase the school from you guys this year. We can start doing the renovations the beginning of next year. We have funding and people that are already trying to give us funding after we close the school. How do you guys not try to give us the opportunity? We seen on Friday that you guys had a resolution to sell the West Grand Neighborhood Organization, the school, for $850,000. How does that change? How do you guys put out something public for the public eye and then change your vote? How do you change that? Ask Ms. Kim with her capacity and Victor. Robert S. Walmack got them $6 million. We have the funding to build our project. We have the vision. We have the passion. We have the capacity. We actually benefit our local community, not some organization that's looking to buy the school from y'all a year from now at the end of the year, 2027. How is that more feasible than what we offer right now? We are a local community organization. West Grand started off years and years and years ago, but we built housing. We actually were building housing. When you guys were teenagers, West Grand was building housing around the community. We are a community pillar, and you guys should hold up the integrity of what JLL said and what your facility staff is, and that was to sell us the school. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Chai up next. Tatiana Spencer on deck.
Hi, Chai Benedict. I was going to talk about things I talked with the ad hoc committee, but I don't feel that is appropriate now. Our neighborhood has spoken about what they want. We have 291 supporters, signed supporters for our proposal. Back in 2010, I was before this body, not you specifically, but I was before as this body fighting against the closure of Stocking Elementary. As a parent, I want to be able to have that opportunity to make good on our neighbors and community that lost that school back in 2010, that lost it again in 2023. Because we lost a community. Those of us parents who lost that school in 2010, our kids got shuffled everywhere. Sibley Elementary, Harrison Park. We lost our community when that school closed, and then when it reopened, the boundaries had shrunk. So then we didn't have as many students. And here we are. To say that an organization like West Grand Neighborhood Organization can't build a coalition of people willing to put in the work, willing to put their money where their mouths are, and the fact that you guys think that we can't do it is really telling. And it's disappointing. It's disappointing as a former GRPS parent. It is disappointing as a former GRPS employee and an advocate and someone who still sits on the Dream Fund committee to support you guys. It is disappointing because your process, you guys created the process. GRPS created the process. And you're not following your own process. So I appreciate the time to talk, but you know, I'm very disappointed.
Thank you. Tatiana Spencer. Annette Vandenberg on deck.
Good evening. My name is Tatiana Spencer, public school educator in a neighboring district. So passionate about community, so passionate about this idea of a school community model, and I think we accomplish that through continuing with the work of the hub. I think the work that KSSN does in GRPS and does in my district, the way that wraparound services support students can be done in this new model. And maybe, like the architects who created Stocking Elementary and many other schools did, we continue that in imagining new ways that we interact. And we imagine new ways that we come around students and come around families. I think we have an opportunity here to build an ecosystem of support. I'm sad that the first time I'm hearing about the other proposal offering space to Stocking to West Grand is tonight, because I think that's a misstep of like we weren't communicating already, and that feels like there's a problem already there. So I just want to address that piece, that feels wrong, that wasn't made aware to West Grand already, and I'm not sure where the disconnect was. I want to say that it really matters to me that we are supporting our kids, and I want kids to see, like, I appreciate the kids that shared tonight. I love that. I'm a student council president, and like I want my kids to do that at our board meeting next year. And I think our kids need to see, and our families need to see, that grassroots initiatives. When we were gonna get the proposal tonight, I was excited because I was gonna be able to go to my neighbors and say, we're gonna build a community organization. Can you give me $5? Can you give me $10? And I was gonna build it with my neighborhood, walking the streets. And then all of this other funding that we have. But I also thought that it would be a way for our community to see that it was coming from every single person in the neighborhood around the district that was supporting the vision, because we know that is super powerful and something that people need to see. So I guess I want to end with think about the community, think about the way that we come together, and I want to end with that.
Thank you. Annette Vandenberg, Duke Gray on deck.
Good evening, trustees, President Rodriguez, Superintendent Roby. I really appreciate your time again tonight. As many of you know, my name is Annette Vandenberg, and I'm going to read tonight from my screen. And I serve as the Executive Director of the West Grand Neighborhood Organization. I want to begin by saying that affordable housing is very important to our community. More than 50% of our neighbors that live in the Stocking neighborhood of focus live in poverty. It has been that way for a very long time. When Stocking School was open, we were able to connect the pieces and help people thrive. The last 2 years, we have had to try to do it out of our small office space. We've done the best we can, but it has been difficult in the tiny space we had, and some of you have been in there. And that's why we need more space. And our partners need space. Our partners are also getting kicked out of their space. Steepletown is now moving again. And this time they have to move even further away from the neighborhood into an industrial area because that's what they can afford. So it's not just about West Grand. It's not just about Annette or Chai or Maurice or bankers or institutions. It's about our community. I have worked in this community for over 10 years. I come from a very poor community. And to go from Friday saying that we have a chance to hearing tonight that 3 of the committee members don't feel that we're the good fit or the right fit, that was hard, but that's okay. I've been told no all my life. I'm a first generation college graduate. I graduated 18 out of 24 of grandchildren, which means I was the 18th grandchild on my dad's side of the family to graduate from high school. Against all odds, not only did I graduate high school, I eventually got my master's because I joined the Navy. But I want other children to have other opportunities. I don't want their last chance to make something of themselves, to have to be, to go serve their country. I want them to be able to do that because they choose to do that. It is an honor that I got to serve my country. It's an honor that I get to be home today. It's an honor that I get to represent the community that is largely and disproportionately vulnerable and has the impact of white colonialism still impacting our neighbors today. People are getting tickets because they're growing native pollinating grasses. People are getting tickets because they're jaywalking. People are getting tickets for things that are just utterly stupid. But West Grand has been on the front lines for the last 50 years, fighting the system, advocating, problem solving with our neighbors. This is the first time I've heard of Commonwealth's opportunity to partner with them. I'm the executive director. My information's been out there. I appreciate the opportunity to work with them, but I also urge you to say yes to us.
Thank you. Next, we've got Duke Gray and Catherine Force on deck.
Good evening. My name's Duke Gray. Thank you to this board for your service to the community. I have the honor of representing WGNO as their buyer's agent for the proposal. Our firm was pleased to get the opportunity. When you're in commercial development, I've been doing it for 20 years, there's a few things you're looking for. You want to see that it's viable. Can they do it if somebody says yes? You want to know that it fits with whatever the seller is trying to get done. And you want to like the people you're doing business with. And when I check those 3 boxes with WGNO, I just want you to know that it fits for us. First of all, viability. I know that the board has to weigh those tensions. It has to be viable. Can they buy it? And will it happen if you say yes? Because I know when I was listening to the ad hoc committee, that was one of their concerns. We've already proven we have the money to buy the building, the property at the price that's been agreed to in principle. So you'll know that you'll get paid. And the cool thing is that you get paid relatively quickly. Our due diligence period is relatively short for a project of this size, but that's because Sella Building Company is so experienced in this, we can move through it quickly and effectively. The good thing about a short due diligence period is it means you'll get paid sooner rather than later, and my mentor in commercial development told me deals don't get better with age. The due diligence period the Commonwealth is expecting is so extraordinary and so long. There's so many exit ramps off of a deal with a due diligence period that long that the likelihood of closing is suspect. With us, it's not. Now, as far as what will happen after we have the building, we have a number of benefactors in the community. A nonprofit doesn't last 50 years through all the things that the economy's been through in 50 years in this country without having benefactors that care. The cool thing is because it's a collaborative effort, all the tenants that are going to be part of our process also have benefactors. So there's going to be an amplification of fund development going on. We also have a number of people that have told us if they accept your offer, we're going to be there for it. And there's some of those letters are in the packet. So we are very confident that not only can we buy the building at the agreed price, that we can also do the development that we've envisioned, that we know the community desires, we know this board would be proud to be a part of, and we know that your concerns, while valid, are also, I want to reassure you, can be addressed. I want to thank you for your time and again for your service, and God bless.
Thank you. Catherine Force and Steve. Can't read that last name. Steve, you know who you are. On deck.
My name is Catherine Force. I am the founder of the Neighborhood Food Circle Network. I am partnered with West Grand Neighborhood organization to help develop the green space at Stocking Hub. And I sent you guys a copy of what I had to say, and I don't feel like saying it again. I only want to point out one thing. I wanted to talk about, food production, food education, workshops, all the things that we have to offer. But I did notice that A, there's a process that's not being followed. We were told one thing, that's not happening. B, this is not what we heard before. Everything that these folks said before me, I'll stand by what they said. Notice one thing, it's only the white folks on this board that said no.
Thank you. Steve, close us out, sir.
Good evening. My name is Steve Akram.
Akram,
I'm with Sella Building Company. We're providing development expertise for West Grand Neighborhood Organization for their reimagining of Stocking Elementary School to provide exactly what the community has asked for. An important part of our expertise of developing and owning buildings and designing and constructing buildings is it all comes back to the pro forma. It all comes back to the bankability, the financeability of the project. This development, as reimagined, stands on its own, meaning, simply put, the rents from the affordable housing units and the rents from the commercial uses will more than cover the building expenses and the debt service. So it will be a revolving positive operation that doesn't need donations. The donations or the grants or the capital stack is required in the beginning. But we've shown that it is financeable. It shows that that there are we have provided commitment letters from folks, including my company. If you've seen the updated information that we submitted. Later on, you will have an action item to determine who you will sell Stocking Elementary to. The board's real estate experts, JLL and GRPS staff, made a recommendation to sell it to West Grand Neighborhood. The scoring rubric determined that West Grand Neighborhood has the highest score. West Grand Neighborhood can close on the purchase of the property as soon as 90 days based on provided commitment from lenders such as IFF. There are other great proposals being considered also, but they rely on LIHTC or other incentives. I talked to Mishta, who manages the program for LIHTC, pretty often, and they confirmed that there's an oversubscription in those LIHTC programs of 5 to 1. So if a project relies on LIHTC, know that the applications are 5 to 1 award. So those credits aren't guaranteed, and they also may take up to 3 years. So in conclusion, I just want to say West Grand Neighborhood.
That's time.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and that is the end of our public comment section. Next, we are moving into our action items, starting with the Michigan High School Athletic Association membership resolution. Board colleagues, is there any questions or comments on this MHSAA membership resolution? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Thank you. Next action item is our purchasing agenda. Again, is there any comments or questions on this purchasing agenda? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Support.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Next up, we've got blanket purchases for the 26-27 school year. Again, any questions or comments on that action item? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the blanket purchase for 26-27 school year?
So moved.
Second. I'm taking it.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Next, we've got our resolution adoption of Budget Amendment 2 for our general fund. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the Budget Amendment 2 for our general fund?
So moved.
Support.
Is that Ari?
Yes.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Next up, we have our Special Revenue Fund, adoption of Budget Amendment 2, resolution. Any questions or comments on this one? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Next, we have our resolution adoption of Budget Amendment 2 for our Debt Retirement Fund. Questions or comments on that one? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, that motion passes. Next, we've got the resolution sale of Alexander. Colleagues, is there any questions or comments on this resolution? Seeing none, do I have a motion for the resolution sale of Alexander?
I move to accept the proposal for purchase from Cross Construction.
Second. I'm sorry?
We can have, after the motion, we can have discussion. Or I can withdraw,
Yep.
whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, is there discussion to be had on this agenda item?
She does have some questions.
If it's in order, I'll withdraw my motion until she's returned.
Yep.
Like motion on the table, you can withdraw it, and then if you're waiting for another board member, then you need to make a
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Would you like to withdraw your
I'll
motion?
withdraw my motion.
Okay, motion withdrawn. All right, we can do a 5-minute recess, and we will be back in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Give it another month. There we go.
decision.
Okay.
You're gonna say bye.
Hey, Jose.
Oh, great.
This is my
You and me are gonna be best friends.
Okay. So do
I think we gotta get it done, but like we gotta go back. We have to figure out the process. Because if we follow the process, but if you're doing it, like I'm asking for. That's true. That's true.
And then just the chart.
Yes, that's true.
Points are this close. When is that?
Be that complicated.
It's not, so this is why it's kind of like, it's not our job to say whether they can execute the mission. They can execute the mission. It doesn't give us community support and concerns, we've got both. It's not us to discern the likelihood of success, it's just conversation. And in the end, use two of the first, so we can kind of see
Yeah. Oh yeah, the fact that we're not even looking at the birds.
this is the discernment. Here we are, and it's because there's three people. But in the end,
You're right.
we gotta be sure about it.
Then what?
Be sure about it, and yes, it's about the district, you know. That's what we're charged with.
You might have
Say that again.
I saw you walk in, so, yeah. I know it.
You can tell. She's coming.
Go out to
You missed all our votes.
I know you're not cold. It's freezing. It's freezing in here. My hair's always cold, and I'm not like.
Hey, it's better than the alternative.
That's true. Yeah, I know, but today, I was like, the girl over here got goosebumps. I went out.
It's so cold. My fingers are like numb. I just watched them and I was like, oh my word.
Yeah.
Me and my daughter been, well, she been trying to save her gas, so she's trying to work with me. You know?
Okay.
She working with you?
Oh, we've Has it been 5?
Summer program.
Well, thank y'all for taking a little break from me, but it was a necessity. It really was. It truly was.
Let's see.
You know you have to wait for Julie.
Yes. Yes. You were going. Okay. Okay. Well, ma'am. Well, thank y'all. No. Are we gonna have discussion? Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Yes. My bad.
That's
I was
okay.
freezing though. The coldness. I wasn't thinking straight. I was out there warming up.
Yeah.
I'm just.
And you got your coffee too?
Just I did. When I say I was freezing, I went to the restroom. Then I went to Mr. J. I said I need a cup of coffee. It's freezing in there.
Just waiting for Julie.
Say that again. Oh, I missed something fun.
All right, folks, we're going to get started in just 1 second. We are waiting for our executive assistant who takes notes for our meeting.
Are we just waiting for Julie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Julie? Would you check if Julie is? Just want to make sure she is. Should be. She'll just have to go off of Erica's notes. Is that okay? I'm just going to have her go off of your notes. Okay. All right, we're just going to keep this meeting going. We were bringing up resolution sale of Alexander. Action item 8.7. Is there any discussion on this agenda item from our colleagues? All right, Trustee Williams.
Yes, thank you all for waiting for me. So I am hoping that I feel like I've asked some questions I haven't received answers to.
Okay.
And the answers that like are coming is like, it's not really making sense. And so I feel like I need more information about it. I think both of I would go with the recommendation. However, we do have, one of the things that we also said is important for us is the ability to keep land. That was one of our things that we wanted as well. And there is a proposal that allows us to do that. And I'm not sure how the numbers worked out. It's some of that just didn't make sense to me. And I feel like there is more information needed before I can make an informed decision with regards to Alexander, because I think both of them bring a community aspect to it. Both of them bring family housing aspect to it. I think that either one could be very viable. However, when I look at it as if I am looking at it as a steward for my, not giving away, not selling the asset that could appreciate has merit. And so I need to understand that the numbers and the thinking better before I can make the most informed decision that I think it's necessary. And then if the recommendation is what the recommendation is, that's fine. But as far as the unpacking and full understanding, I don't have that yet as to how we arrived there, particularly with that caveat. So that's my thought, and I need more information.
Colleagues, is there any other questions, comments, or concerns?
I'll defer to my colleague. Did you? Me? You looked as though you were going to speak. No. Oh, okay. I am maybe not the best person to deliver this, so I don't want to call on anyone, so I'll defer to President Rodriguez. But again, just to say what we spoke through earlier in terms of the value of lease versus sale, right? Because it kind of hinges down to that, correct, Trustee Williams? Is you sell and there's a value to that, you lease and there's a different value to that, like monetary value, right?
There's a monetary value, but also the ability to keep my asset while I still get a financial benefit.
Yeah. And there's a value to
So
that.
when I looked at the numbers, and so that's why I say the numbers aren't adding up for me. I looked at the numbers, $60,000 over 60 years. That's 3.6 million. That wasn't $450,000. So maybe I'm missing something. I did go to Crescent. I thought we was pretty top notch in math, but maybe somebody can unpack that for me in a way that makes sense. That we went from 60 times 60 years being $450,000. That don't make sense to me. But also the fact of the matter is, in the end, if we still retain the land ownership over 60 years, it likely has appreciated. I know the value of the homes in my neighborhood have increased substantially in just the last 4 years. I can't imagine what it would look like in 60 years. And particularly with all of the development that we have going on in our downtown area. I got some questions. I got some questions. And if it is what it is, and if the answers reap the same recommendation, then that's fine. But until I have those answers, I just don't feel comfortable as being a steward of this property.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And we've tried to, in an imperfect way, get to the bottom of that. And I've appreciated, just for my other colleagues on the board, I've really appreciated Trustee Williams' intention around this and getting to this. So in terms of, and you'll be familiar with this, and I brought this up in my committee report, but in terms of, we got to compare donuts and donuts. So $26 to $86 doesn't make as much sense so we got to try and get it to $26. So as it was explained from the JLL team, if we're assuming a $1 million value, right? And then you have to factor in the discount from inflation, other things. So assume a 10% discount over 60 years. That is where we end up with that. We end up with a $700,000 value, right?
I don't get it.
To the property. To the property.
Yeah, and the 450 comes from a 10-year.
Yes.
Projection. That might not still answer, but at least
it does not.
And again,
and it still does not allow me to understand how, if the lease price covers our actual cost at that site, how are we losing? I'm just saying. How are we losing? I need to understand that. And then when I get some answers, when I get a clear understanding of that, then I can make an informed decision. But with that sitting there, I don't have I don't have an answer that makes more sense to say pick one over the other.
So I know JLO was in your ad hoc facilities meeting this evening. Did you feel that you asked the question and just didn't get the answer you were looking for from JLL? Is that something that we could invite JLL and discuss at this moment?
I think
they are here.
I think it was answered to my satisfaction, but I'm not, I am just one voice. So I think to some of my other colleagues, including Trustee Williams. So if she's interested, I'm
interested. If I can get an answer today, that'd be wonderful.
Absolutely. Would you join us up here? Thank you, gentlemen.
And while they come down, I know you guys know this, but just to encourage, this is, to me, as the person who's always trying to push for transparency and push for things to be raw and authentic, I just want to remind everyone, this is raw and authentic. So we started a new process. We didn't know if it would go well, but we did it all publicly. We're discussing it publicly. We are not meeting behind closed scenes to do this. So what we're doing right here is just very authentic. So I hope people know that we are absolutely following our process. In the end, each of the two top bids, I guess I'll say, on both projects were 0.04 and 0.06 points apart. So that's where this gut discernment comes in. The rubric has led us to two great options in both sites. And this is kind of the gut check now, and you're just seeing this happen live time. So I want to encourage us. This is what I always hope for us to do. So,
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for joining us. So we are looking for some clarity around the Commonwealth Development Corporation proposal.
Sorry.
No. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Cross contracting. Sorry. Yep. Could you maybe give us some clarity around where you got those numbers for a 60,000 annual, or 60 years with 60,000 annually, and where you ended up with what was 750,000?
700,000. I mean, I'll defer to you guys.
Yeah,
In terms of speaking to leases versus sale.
Yeah. So this was brought up in ad hoc, and I just quickly did it. I'm not an accountant.
Okay.
Although I'm a mechanical engineer, so I guess I'm good at math. But when you look at an income stream versus a purchase price, what we do is a net present value of an income stream, right? And so there's a couple ways of looking at an income stream from a value perspective. One is net present value, which I took one with a 10-year period to say, hey, this is, when you get past 10 years, most investors don't look past 10 years when you do it. In this particular case, on the spot, I took it over 60 years, and then I added in a crystal ball of $1 million worth of value at the end of 60 years. Because I don't know what that property is going to be worth in 60 years. I don't think there's anyone on the board that is trying to figure that out. So I arbitrarily picked that, and I used a 10% discount rate. What a discount rate is it takes future dollars, brings it back to today's date, right? Now, I arbitrarily picked 10%. Most of my clients are probably in that 13, 14% from a discount rate. So 10% is pretty conservative. And the way you get there is, one is what's inflation, you talked about that, weighted average cost of capital. So things, what does capital cost? What you can do with those dollars versus today versus having those dollars 60 years. Does that kind of make sense? So you take 60 years, so if you take 60 years, 59 years, 58 years, and you bring those all the way back today, discounting every year by 10%, including the $1 million, what we would call residual value at the end, and take that all back today. And I did it very quickly, so I want to double check that. Because I did it while we were sitting here, and that came to about, although I do it a lot, it came to just under $700,000 of value. So that way you can compare today's value versus dollars today versus dollars over an income stream over a period of time.
And so, great explanation, breaking it down like that, but when I compare $700K over 60 years and I keep my property, which can possibly appreciate over $1 million today, and my property is gone, I don't understand.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
I'm not understand how the weight in the matrix was for us keeping our property. Because again, if we're talking about a $300,000 difference, but I still get to keep my land in a city that's landlocked, I'm so confused. I'm confused why that didn't have a higher weight value.
We did not determine the weight value. The weight value was determined by Grand Rapids Public School.
Okay, so that again is part of the conversation I'm trying to have to better understand, because, and I mean, and I'm by no means an expert, but I do know that generational wealth comes from land. And if we quick to unload for a 300,000 difference, I don't understand that. It just does not. I don't get it. I don't get why we would unload a piece of property for a $300,000 difference that likely, even if we waited, would appreciate to that point. So those are my thoughts and my thinking about it. I do have, and I've been very clear the entire time, I think it's important to retain property ownership where we can. And that a proposal came in that allowed us to do that. That's high, and it has community benefit, and it has GRPS benefit, all of those things. So that would have looked differently to me. And so I don't know how my colleagues feel about that. That's just some of the unpacking that I really needed to understand as we as we make a decision, if we make that decision tonight. But yeah, my thoughts.
Thank you. Colleagues, any other thoughts or comments?
The one thing just to, because I've considered the same thing as well, Trustee Williams, of do we retain ownership and lease out over the long term, or do we sell outright? And I always go back to it's a case by case situation. And with this, I think the math and the situation with this particular property, it makes sense to do a sale for me, because then there's also, as I think about it, the additional administrative cost. We did talk about tax costs in ad hoc. That's easily a pass-through to whoever the tenant is. But in terms of the administrative cost, that overhead, to me, is enough to negate any of the value that we would otherwise get when we could have an immediate sale of this particular property. But that's my thinking through it.
And in thinking about this as well, I think, we don't know what the world is going to look like in 60 years. We don't know financially what our position is going to look like in 60 years. And I do hear benefit to both. And I do, Trustee Williams, see your desire, and also I would like to, have that added benefit of keeping land, right? I think that's something you've been very consistent with, and I appreciate that. I also think that GRPS is in dire financial straits now as we struggle with the state to provide us adequate educational funding. And so thinking about $60,000 a year, going down the line, right, I think has in the short term, right, and we can think both long term and short term, I think it just doesn't have the impact that I would like to see for GRPS and how we're trying to offset buildings for community benefit, but also have some money to spend today. And those are just my thoughts on the matter.
Just out of understanding process, and so with the recommendation on the resolution, since we're going to be if we move it forward and we need to wait for approval of their funding, what happens if they don't get it? Is this for the crop?
For Alexander.
Thank you, for Alexander.
Who needs
to wait for funding? Because I think both of them had money ready to go, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Okay.
No?
Well, I think those are questions that maybe should be asked of the parties that made the proposal. But I know that one party in particular has the cash ready to go. Mm-hmm. No issue. I guess one of the questions, and maybe part of the due diligence, would be if it's going to be leased, how are the lenders going to consider that? Or is there going to be any challenge not owning the property to get funding for other renovations? Mm-hmm. So I think those are things that you're going to want to think about, mm-hmm. right, and consider. Other things I think that would be worth noting is that these properties were put on the market for a reason, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And enrollment is down. If you look at across the board, the utilization of buildings, you're at 51%, so 49% could be improved upon. Essentially, from our perspective, they're vacant. So I don't personally see the need to retain real estate. Not to say that that's a right or wrong answer, but I don't think the demand is there. Looking at how things are utilized now, I think I'll just leave it at that. Mm-hmm. Right?
I appreciate the sentiment. I disagree respectfully, but yes, I understand. But it's the board's decision.
Yeah. All right. Is there any other discussion to be had? All right. Seeing none, do I have a motion for a resolution sale of Alexander?
I move that we accept the proposal for purchase from Cross Construction for the Alexander building.
I think you got that
That's
wrong.
not purchase.
Sorry?
We was just talking about the land lease. The recommendation was for Life Quest, not for Cross.
We didn't, yeah. I mean, I stand by my motion.
So you're advocating.
We're doing Alexander at the moment.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Cross offered both
motion
to lease and to purchase.
Is for Cross
who
offers
for
to
purchase.
lease or purchase.
Okay.
And I move that we accept their offer for purchase.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we're going to do a roll call vote.
Can I have a point of clarification? So, what I want to be clear on, your motion is to go against the recommendation of JLL. I just want to make sure that that's what, in the district.
To be clear, it's the district's recommendation. not
Correct,
JLL's.
okay, the district's recommendation for, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to move forward with the roll call vote.
Host,
Yeah.
President Rodriguez, I need to recuse myself from this vote.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Secretary Kilpatrick?
All right, yes. Trustee Melton.
Yes.
Trustee Moreno.
Yes.
Trustee Van Dyke.
Yes.
VP, recused. Trustee Williams.
I'm slightly lost. I want to, can I please ask a question? I'm not sure. So we're saying that we are selling the property to the Cross
Yes, that was my
Construction.
motion.
Yep.
versus their lease offer.
Yes.
Purchase price for $1 million.
Okay, so yeah, no.
No. Trustee Williamson.
Yes.
President Rodriguez.
Yes.
That motion passes.
Okay. Next, we've got the resolution sale of stocking. Do I have a motion for that?
Can we have discussion?
Oh, sorry.
Yep. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Yes, so I, having read over the proposal with regards to, the second person, not the one that was recommended. So we're clear.
Right.
I had some questions about the contract language. It seemed, I think someone mentioned it pretty early, a lot of off-ramps, a lot of, wait till we secure our funding. Seemed like the funding was a little bit of double dip in taxpayer dollars with buying this property, yet we received a fairly low offer. Didn't receive any information about projections about what they would earn from this particular project as well, for us to know whether or not we're getting a fair offer. And so I had some concerns about the contract language that was in the proposal, frequent off-ramps, delays, earnest monies, all of those things. I had quite a few concerns, wonderings about that, and then additionally, really not even being clear as to what type of housing this would be, who is serving particularly. So we don't need single-family housing from a district standpoint. We need family housing. And so it was a lot of things with that, and then the offer amount as well. I found if I was going to had concerns about that, and if I was going to take a lower amount, I would be taking that from a nonprofit, not from a developer. My thoughts.
Well, the language in there is for mixed family housing and community spaces and keeping the green space and working with nonprofits in the area. So the question is, for me, the management of the building itself, that's really on the table. So I'm not sure what you mean by the off-ramps that looked different than other.
In the proposal, it
Yeah,
was
you told me that went back.
different points for extension requests that could really put us in a situation where we could have had it sold and gone with to somebody who's ready now versus someone who has 2 or 3 different extension options. That we were already looking at 27 anyway, and if you can go even beyond that.
You're talking about the 30-day extensions? Is that what you mean? Because I read through it, I was trying to figure out where you were.
No, they weren't just 30-day extensions look like. It was options to like, let me see if I can pull it.
Yeah, I see right here, buyer has the right to extend closing date up to 3 times for 30-day periods, each with additional earnest money deposits. I'm assuming it would be in the same amount of $15,000, or I guess it's up to the buyer.
It's up to negotiation.
Up to negotiations, okay.
And then wasn't there language in there about waiting for funding to be secured as well, or approval for different funds of possible money that they would be applying for?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Commonwealth Development.
So many things on my.
Is there any other thoughts, comments, questions? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion for the resolution sale of stocking?
I move that we sell the property of Stocking to Commonwealth Development Corporation of America.
Do I have a second?
Support.
All right, Secretary Kilpatrick, would you do a roll call vote, please?
Kilpatrick, yes. Melton?
Yes.
Trustee Moreno?
Yes.
Trustee Van Dyke?
No.
VP Wade?
No.
Trustee Williams?
No.
Trustee Williamson?
Yes.
President Rodriguez?
Yes.
That motion passes.
All right. Thank you. Next, we're moving into our consent agenda grouping. Do I have a motion to approve? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a
So
motion?
moved.
To approve the consent
Support.
agenda? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All right, that motion passes. All right, next we have discussion items, board president announcements. So we've got our June 13th board retreat this Saturday. I am going to be sending you all an email with the agenda, and I have been asked by Ray and Associates to please bring your personal and professional calendars because we're going to be choosing all of our dates for the superintendent search process on that date. So we just want to make sure that as many folks can participate as possible, and we want to make sure that every person can participate. So we're going to try to look at calendars to make sure that we can make that happen. And aside from that, that is all I have for you all this evening. And I will move to superintendent comments.
Good evening. I wish more people would have stayed because I think this is actually pretty exciting and very innovative. Today we did the ribbon cutting for the new Central Station childcare at the Rapid Transit Hub, and it is a beautiful, beautiful site. We are opening this fall. We expect to have about 100 young people from birth to age 5, and this is in part, yes, it's in partnership with, of course, GRPS, Head Start, YMCA, WK Kellogg, and a slew of other partners within our community. And what makes this so exciting is that it's at a transportation hub, which if you think about for many of our families in our community, when we talk about employment opportunities, some of the barriers for families are transportation as well as childcare that is safe and that and where people feel safe, and it's in the heart of our city right there. And then the secondary kind of benefit is that our young people, our GRPS scholars, 17 years of age and older, may have an opportunity to work in the child care after school, and so they get a little bit of change, pocket change, but then also it's in partnership with GRCC, so they can earn college credits. And so this is one of those transformational experiences. We will continue to do some marketing and advertising for this to get ready for the launch in September. Trustee Van Dyke and I were there this morning, and it really is a beautiful space with an outdoor patio playground, not patio, rooftop playground. And I just, I'm buzzed and excited for it. I wish, well, I'm not even gonna say I wish I had little ones. that phase of life has passed, but it is a phenomenal opportunity, and I'm just so very excited for what this means for our families and our community.
All right, thank you. That's a very exciting, yeah, we can clap it up for that. Thank you, Dr. Roby, for sharing that. Next, we're going to go into board member comments. Secretary Kilpatrick, if you want to just go down the roll call.
Yeah, and that would be myself, and I have no comments. So on to Trustee Melton.
No comments tonight.
Trustee Moreno.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm still thinking about graduations. Hearing our scholars speak, shaking all their hands. I continue to be inspired by our young people, even having the young four folks come and talking about nutrition. And so it gets me really excited for our retreat and thinking about how do we continue to deeper engage with our scholars and build those relationships. I will say I was a little sad that I didn't know as many scholars as maybe I want to. And so I know I have my own internal goal of building those relationships. I was like, I didn't like going to a graduation where I didn't at least know one student. And so I just want to continue to challenge us as we're thinking about community engagement. How are we building those relationships so it doesn't feel, to me it felt false celebrations. I'm still celebrating and cheering for them and their next adventures, but I want to be in relationship with them and their families. That feels really important to me, and I hope we can continue to foster that into this next season.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Van Dyke.
Yeah, just want to say felicidades to all four of those staff members who were honored tonight, as well as to some of the scholar athletes and coaches and their families supporting them. And I know most of the West Grand folks left, but just want to really acknowledge the work that they put into the engagement that went into that process and all of those pieces. I'm hopeful that the decision made tonight, there are opportunities to partner that are fruitful. That was a really cool project and a really cool idea, and I want to see more work like that. Whether it's connected to GRPS or not, I think those are the kind of hubs that we need to see in our communities, and I look forward to seeing what comes next in that space.
Thank you.
VP Wade.
Congratulations to the lovely educators on 40 years, and I hope whatever I do for 40 years, I look that good. And I didn't know this district hired at maybe 12 because I don't see 40 years of service. But we appreciate it. And thank you to our safety team. I think that was an amazing presentation. And the work that goes into that is far beyond those slides. And I do want to acknowledge that. And no guns this year may seem like a room full of clapping people like they had guns last year. We don't hear about every little thing that goes on in our schools and in schools around us either. That doesn't make the news every time a gun or a weapon is found in a school. And to be able to say that, we're not sure how many other districts or around this country, around this city, this county can even say that. So I'm just really proud that that was even added to the presentation. And I'm sad that it had to be added to the presentation as well. I'm a little heavy right now because today community, it didn't feel like community won. I'm a champion for community projects, for community empowerment and community centers. And I don't want our votes today to set a precedence for what's next and what other buildings come online and what community might see and say, oh, that's not what they heard us, but they didn't listen. Or they chose money or homes over what our children and our communities need. And I hope that does not put out any fires out there in different communities and spaces. And like Erica said, I hope to see more projects like that come before us, but I also hope that we can give some of those projects a chance. So I'm a little sad today about that, but that's all I have. Thank you for hanging with us, you guys.
Thank you.
Trustee Williams?
Yes. Thanks again to everyone who came to share public comment with us. We know your time is valuable, so we appreciate that. Want to congratulate Mrs. Johnson, Ms. Dodd, Ms. Black, Mrs. Lance on their just stellar careers, and we thank you for choosing, making GRPS your choice. So, shout out to Mr. Johnson on the Athletic Advisory Committee. Many of y'all know I have been saying we have got to improve our athletics. We have to be intentional about that, and I think that's a wonderful step to be a part of that, so that we can restore GRPS to our glory days. So I'm excited about that. With regards to the facilities and the sale, so I think why I didn't necessarily agree, and you all saw me vote no, but I did appreciate that there was an extension to work together, an offer to say, how can we include something that you wanted in what we're doing? And that type of partnership and collaboration is what I am hopeful will come out as we start doing, continue to look at our properties, that people will say, how can we be collaborative? How can we be intentional to work with other community partners? Because I do believe that even though one maybe won the bid to do it today, I think that there are similarities between the top two in each, or that there could be an olive branch and extension to make this more community. So I'm hopeful that that will happen, as again, that was one of the other pieces of what we were looking at, is just we were looking for partnerships, and that there is an opportunity for there to be partnerships between people who are putting in RFPs. I think that is super important, and so I'm hopeful about that, even though I didn't necessarily vote in that direction. I'm hopeful that that is something that was uplifted.
Thank you.
And Trustee Williamson.
Yeah, and I'd like to agree completely with Trustee Williams' sentiments. I always think of Grand Rapids as a small town but a big city. Like there's so much space and so much opportunity to do so many great things here. And of course, we're going to continue on with this process, as imperfect as it is, working to improve it. We're really charged as a board with long-term interest of the district and the larger community, and all of the kids that are here and all of the kids that are going to be here in the future. And I'm really proud that everybody on this board takes that so seriously, because we've had some long conversations just about these two properties. But again, even as imperfect as this process is, to Sarah Melton's point, we've been doing this all out in the open, and I think we've learned a lot from this, and this is something that Trustee Williams has always reminded me of, that we don't need to rush into it all, and there's lessons to be learned, and we can improve it. So that's really why I share Trustee Williams' sentiments, that there is a lot of opportunity for the future here, and the fires don't need to go out on some of the enthusiasm for these proposals. And if these two properties weren't the ones for maybe those proposals, certainly in the future, as we look to others and other creative ways of partnering with community to make these things happen, as we also, as a board, working with our district team to continue improving the process so that we have the information we need and the answers to our questions. We are able to efficiently ask those questions and get the information we need, and come to a result that's going to continue to strengthen and improve this small town that we all share. Thank you.
President Rodriguez.
I just want to start by giving a shout out to our 40 years of service teachers. I think that is an amazing feat, and I know they're continuing to serve our scholars in our schools, and I think that's amazing. I don't know if I would ever stick with the job for 40 years. I think that like our generations are different that way. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see that kind of commitment to one job nowadays, so I just really appreciate that. But yeah, also shout out to our athletes. Man, just to see so many honors, so many all-state, academic all-state, I think is just really amazing to witness. And then, of course, our safety team. I think having the City Vibes program, I think, is really valuable, and I hope to maybe stop by. I hope to see some other board members there as well. I think that's so amazing in a time where, some of our young ones just don't have a lot to do in the community, and we want to have them do something positive and also stay safe and, you know, kind of seen and make sure to stay out of trouble. So I think that's really great. And again, shout out to all of the intentionality that goes into the safety and security team, the age appropriate drills. I was writing all these things down, secured entryways, right? Cameras on our buses. I think all of this is amazing work. And I'm grateful that so many folks were here to witness that. And to the process of you know, Alexander and Stocking, this is our first time going through this process. And I've said time and time again, I'm really grateful and proud of this board and what we accomplished together. And I think the process is only going to get better. It's only going to get more streamlined. But I'm just grateful that we have, you know, gone through our first 2 properties, and so I'm excited to see what the rest entail. And so with that being said, we are adjourned for this evening. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Like presidency. This was as well. This is today. Yes. I'm like, okay, why did you do this? Knew where we were gonna be at. You were in up front today.